We're back at you with gloves off, and today we're going to talk about a serious increase to our taxes against and for a Webb County jail. Do we actually need it, or don't we need it? Is it a scam that's being pushed upon the people, or is it a true entity that's being pushed for the people? I'm talking with ex-deputy, ex-bailiff, ex-candidate for sheriff, Jerry Carmona. How are we doing today, Jerry?
Great, Paul. We're doing awesome. Yes.
We're talking about the jail. There's a big hoorah because this jail election was just thrown in front of everybody. From one week to the other, all of a sudden, we have to early vote for a jail. You worked in the jail. For how long how long were you in law enforcement, Tony?
I've been 29 years, retired just recently, Paul. 30 years almost in law enforcement with the county.
Okay. How did you work? You were a deputy? I know you were a bailiff of Judge Ben Morales, who passed away a little while ago, and God bless his soul. He was a great man.
May he rest in peace. I started as a jailer, worked myself up to lieutenant.
Okay.
And then came back. I went to work with Judge Morales for 10 years, came back to the sheriff's office, and I was there as the mental health unit coordinator in the rank of captain.
Which sheriffs did you work for?
I worked for Juan Garza, and I worked for for Mario Santos. I started with Mario Santos, Juan Garza, and then Sheriff Martin Cuellar at the end.
At the end, okay. Tell me, what do you see with what's going on here? Because there's a lot of pros and cons for this new jail and what it's coming for. Everybody has their own opinions. We're just here to inform the lesser informed out there of what's going on. If people do not know what and how Webb County is, you have to be very careful because we have a lot of watchers out there from around the world. Webb County is 99.9 Democrat. And the majority of the public officials are Democrat. So there's a different way things are done, the Democratic Party way, if you want me to put it that way. So there's some people might say there's shenanigans, maybe. I blame it more on the electoral voting system that we have here and how they get the votes. And that is the problem. This vote was thrown in November for a purpose for the people not to go out and vote because there's nobody else there, right? Correct?
Correct.
Kind of explain to us how you see that.
Well, I see that as an opportunity for them to put something that the people are not well informed and to take advantage of the circumstance. You know, that's the situation right now is there's no candidates out there right now on this vote, so there's going to be a low voter turnout. Now, what worries me is for these voters not to be informed. If this breakdown of this Proposition A was provided to our commissioners, why not to our voters, Paul? If they knew this breakdown, the vote would be definitely no.
Of course. I voted no, but I have my reasons for why I vote no. Now, here's my opinion towards a jail. A jail is more like a holding cell, right? I mean, it's not really a penitentiary.
No,
or is it the same thing?
No, it differs. And one of the things here, Paul, we do need a jail. We do need one. That goes without saying. But at what cost? You know, if this breakdown was provided to the people, I think $11.4 million for land is ridiculous. If they only would know that, that's definitely wrong. Now, one of the other things, $125 million for the whole thing. How many bets are we getting? 170? If only the people would know all of this info prior to voting, I think people need to be informed of the whole truth. You know, a lot of people can't go in there blinded without even knowing.
No, and you're correct. Most people here in Webb County vote blindly anyway. A lot of people do not understand that the majority of the voting happens in early vote in any election. People take folks out from the elderly that are in their dote age, that they do not really understand what's going on. most of the candidates take them over there like a little basket. They play them bingo. They take them to a dance, and all of a sudden they herd them away like sheep to go vote for whoever it is. And to me, that's wrong. That, to me, is a type of voter fraud. I don't know which way it can. Actually, what will end all this is if somebody up in D.C. would send the FBI and bust that little outfit up. But that's a different story. But what I see is that type of advantage. I also see a type of oppressive action under the Webb County sheriffs since, not only since Sheriff Martin Cuellar, the other sheriffs prior to that used that. It's something that has been, that's a cesspool attitude that's inside the sheriff's office. That type of intimidation towards small businesses, that type of intimidation towards people that if you do not vote or side with whoever side the sheriff is on, they're going to blackball you in your business. I mean, God knows, I've had that happen to me. We have a small businessman from a restaurant here who's been threatened. He's been voiced his opinions against the jail, and he had been threatened by phone. Those attitudes have to stop. So because of that nature and the attitude that the department has towards small businesses is one of the reasons why I voted no. The other reason why I voted no, Mr. Carmona, is very simple. This is not a jail. This is some kind of law enforcement training center facility, because they're going to have a driving range for a driving school. They're going to have a shooting range. They're going to have sheriff's office. So they're not only selling us a jail, they're selling us a bunch of other things. So that's not what this is all about. This is about building a jail. You worked at the jail that we have downtown.
Yes.
Is it a danger, like they say?
It's not that dangerous, but it is obsolete now, Paul. But at 125 million, come on, man. I can buy Alcatraz and make a bit, and make the jail there. Come on. This is ridiculous. The prices, I hope they don't take it upon me, and because, it would be wrong. But the breakdown, I challenge all the commissioners. How could they have the audacity where either they were blinded or they just saw the dollar signs to vote yes for this, to put it upon the voters without informing the voters of all this breakdown? It's ridiculous. I saw it. In fact, it should be published. It's KGNS should put it up and put it so the people can make the right choice. Because I wouldn't make that choice just by seeing that. Why would the commissioners have that and not have their constituents see this breakdown? To me, that's information that's very important that was taken away from the people by those commissioners, and the sheriff should put it too. If he wants a jail, do it right. Do it right. You want public trust, and we're committed to public trust. How can we have that if there's no transparency? Mm-hmm. And to me, misinformation, not giving the whole information, that's not transparency. That's not creating public trust at all. In my book, I respected the sheriff, but if he doesn't put this out to the voters, then he lost my trust. I trusted him with all my heart, and for him not to inform the voters of this breakdown and this proposition fully to the people, to me that's fraud. And for the commissioners not to stand up, I think it was only one commissioner that voted no. I commend this commissioner, and I'm very disappointed with the other ones for not standing up for their constituents.
Which commissioner was the one that stood up?
John Galo. Surprisingly, he's the only Anglo there standing up for what's right. I'm very disappointed of the rest. In fact, the biggest example, yes, we do need a jail, Paul. We do need it.
No,
that goes without saying.
I'm in agreement.
We have the property, but one of the things that really gets me, it's under these circumstances that people take advantage of the situation. Let me just give you a prime example. Hurricane Harvey. Here was this dude selling bottles of water, cases of water at $29 a case because of the circumstance. There was need for water at the time, but he was taking advantage of the victims. Well, we are the victims. They're selling this land so high, or this Proposition A so high, without telling the people there is a need for a jail. But why take advantage of the people like that? Crook. We're not crooks, we're people. and we should get informed, fully informed, before making a vote of that nature.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. They came out that it was $285,000 in one of the posts that was for the land. That's a little high for real estate in any place here in the state of Texas, unless you're buying it in Regency or whatnot, you know. But I understand what you're saying. Here's the way I look at it. If we have a jail, do we need a jail? Can we build upon the parking lot that's there like it was proposed 15, 20 years ago? 20 actually more, about 30 years ago. That's when the jail was there. You know, there's a lot of pros from the sheriff's department, especially a lot of the deputies, that are saying, hey, why? This is the reason. One of the reasons that I was told to vote for the new jail is because a new jail would mean lesser lawsuits for the jail and the Webb County sheriffs that they have now. I don't know how they go ahead and do that. To me, the lawsuits, and most of the lawsuits that I researched on, were wrongful deaths.
Lack of training, Paul. Lack of training. One of the biggest things I would teach is the use of force, especially in a jail setting. I would give that class way back then. But to me, that is very important. And now with all these cameras, nobody can get away with nothing now. No one. Okay. In fact, not even them can get away. That's how good this is, you know, because of information and the technology that we have nowadays. But it's training, lack of training. If they had that training, those jailers would have not committed that mistake. And then the way you go about hiring people.
Well, everybody knows how they hire people.
Oh, yes.
I mean, if you hold a sign, if you take people vote, you're going to get a job.
Well,
but you know, that's the majority. Okay, you have some good people in there. Let me put it to you this way: I've taught martial arts here for a very long time. Okay, I moved back here in 2000. I had a sufficient amount of deputies from when Juan Garza was sheriff there. Throughout the years, I've taught many to join become peace officers and go into the different fields, not only federal, state, county, and municipal peace officers, right? I have plenty of students and ex-students that have that. But I had a huge amount when this sheriff came in that all of a sudden stopped training. And this is what I say about oppressing small businesses. Stop training, and when you call them and say, where are you? You know what, Profe? I cannot train with you anymore because the sheriff would make me lose my job. I cannot take my son with you because the sheriff would remove my license. I cannot train with you because my brother works at the jail and he would lose his job. I had around 18 to 23 individuals that were working in there. And when I approached them, I told them nobody knew a thing that was going on. But sure enough, it happens, okay? So that power trip that they have, that abuse, and they're the ones that are supposed to be upholding the law, to me, it kind of shakes me a little bit, okay? I respect the sheriff and the position of the sheriff and the sheriff department for what it is supposed to be. But the instant that you start oppressing and controlling and enforcing type of mafiosi type attitudes, that doesn't jive. And we have seen it with this whole thing in here. I congratulate ex-Judge Meme Flores for standing up against what's going on, because he has basically brought forth all these propositions and proposals and dividends of the different way the money's going to be spent. Okay? And I think they were supposed to have a debate about it yesterday, but what occurred now?
I believe it was canceled, and I don't know if they didn't want to show up for some reason or another. That's something that needs to be asked as to why it was canceled and who failed to show up. But going back to what you were saying, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No problem.
One of the things in limiting that abuse of power, which comes with the longer you are in office, that's why the commissioners should vote for a 2-term limit, just like the city council, just like the city government should be. Because, once you go over those 2 terms, a lot of people can get corrupted.
You're correct.
And in fact, the sheriff said he only wanted to run for 2 terms, if I remember when he when I ran for office against Rick at that time. He had promised only 2 terms, and I think that's what we should have nowadays. If the commissioners can go and voted for this proposition, I don't know why they want to do this, because it might concern them too, is to have a 2-term limit. To me, the people should make that choice to have so we can eliminate that problem, so people cannot get oppressed, Paul. Because the more time they're there, the more they can figure out stuff they can get away with. And to me, a 2-term limit, like the rest of the governments, that's the way we should make this and vote the way they're doing this with this proposition. That's people get, the people were misinformed or not fully informed.
No, I understand fully. That's one thing that has to change. Do we have a kind of deep state like it's in Washington, D.C.? Do we have it here? Of course. Okay. The sadness with this proposal is that those that know the problem that's going on, those that vote against Proposition A, will come out short because of the voting process of how they gather votes occurs, okay? So, I mean, it's happened before. People win by 33 votes over somebody that had an army, and then you try to figure out what's going on. I mean, Cito lost by minuteness of recounts. We're going to lose this one. The people are going to come underneath. Just watch. But we have to inform those that have not voted what needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? So here's what I say. Do we need a jail? Probably so. Do we need all the thrills and bells that come with it that are being proposed? No, we don't.
No.
Some people are saying that one of the CCA or GOs closed or is about to close. Why don't we buy that back if we need those beds? One of the things that was told was that we're losing money because they have to take prisoners out elsewhere. Okay. Here's a question that I've always asked. How many undocumented illegal aliens do we have in this jail now? When you were there, was there a huge, was it a minority, was there a majority, or were there some illegal aliens?
There's a good percentage, Paul.
Okay.
In fact, living on the border, we all should know that. In fact, it's a good percentage that they're from abroad. But needless to say, all of this, a lot of people are just thinking to make money. Now, we had a jail in the South. In fact, it was the CCA owns it now. They sold it to the CCA. At what price? I don't know. This is the rinky-dinky business that they're all doing, and it should be stopped. I don't know how much they bought it for and how much they sold it for, but I can tell you this. Sometimes they buy very high. In fact, all the time. They buy very high and sell very low. Look at the detention center. Who was it sold to? We could have had that one. Look at all the land at the Casablanca golf course just to keep a little politicals happy. We're losing money all the time. Why not build there? We have the land. Why buy more land? And at whose expense? Our expense, Paul? No.
No, but we do have land.
We do have land. In fact, the Tex-Mex building next to the jail would be awesome for the jail because it's very close proximity to the courts. Now, unless the courts are going to be moving pretty soon in the future, then fine. But I don't think so. We had this, the federal court for so long, and the other one was built next or very close proximity to the old one. For a reason, the feds think like that. How come we can't think like them and be smarter and not let these politicals get rich? This is just common sense. We have the Tex-Mex land right there. Why not build there? And save money when you're transporting and liability on the transporting of those inmates to the court.
No, you're correct because you work there.
The farther they are, the more liability that's going to open to the county. And of course, we could have more escapes, more death. At what price?
No. You're absolutely correct. Those are values that we're in there. I look at this. Why don't we privatize the jail completely? They might the jailers might get paid a little bit more, might have better benefits, better insurances than what they have now. Because I'm hearing a lot of ex-deputies talk about the insurance rates are going up higher. There's a lot of different
Paul,
things that are coming.
I'm a retired veteran, almost 30 years, and I cannot afford that health insurance. I went with the VA, and it's, you go to any other state, California and all that, and they take care of their officers. And this hurts, man.
I understand.
This hurts.
Of course.
30 years of service, almost 30 years, and can't afford health care, man? Come on, man.
I understand.
You know, where's that for us? Where's that for us? Where is taking care of our soldiers, taking care of our officers that we put all this time in serving our community and country, yet we cannot afford health care, man? Come on, man. You know, my family's hurting, and I cannot afford health care. And I feel sorry for those jailers and officers that they're paying sky high for their health insurance, and it hurts. It's hurting me.
And then yet the prisoners that are into their criminals, they have all the medical benefits. They had free TV. They have free drugs.
That's what hurts me. That's what hurts me, man.
They have free sex. They have everything. Those guys in there, they do everything.
That's what hurts me. When they have a criminal or people from abroad have better health care than me putting all those years of service, that's bad.
I understand.
That's bad.
I understand. You know, the sheriff needs to wake up and analyze what's going on. Yes, you do need a jail. The majority of people are with you. That you do need a jail. But everything else we do not need. Do you need better training? Probably so. I mean, you guys have come in the past to ask for it. Okay? Mm-hmm. Especially Chief Deputy Fred Garza. Great man. But then I saw a picture the other day of a bunch of deputies. It must have been about 60 in a line going to vote. And you're like, who's taking care of the county? You know, did they vote on work? Were they working at the time and he sent them down to go vote? I mean, we don't pay them to go vote. We don't pay. You pay to go do your job. For that hour or whatever, hey.
This is the circumstance that we're talking about, Paul. Being that it's a low voter turnout because there's nobody running for office, this is where they can take advantage of the circumstance. And when you have an army to go out and vote, and most people are not interested in voting anymore because they have lost that public trust. And we have to gain that trust. We have to come back up. And, you know, I urge people, in fact, I urge the church to come out and vote. To come out and vote and do what's right. And vote no for this robbery that they're doing right now.
I see attorneys, and I know several of them, and you talk to them, and the first thing that you see is, I'm against the jail. And I go, well, voice your opinion. I can't, Paul, because then they won't allow me to bail somebody out. I mean, you're an attorney. They're not going to allow you to bail somebody out. They're going to give me a rough time. I understand because I lived that other side of that thing. So I understand how they feel. So I hope they realize what's going on, wake up a little bit, and move forward. There's another thing. I saw somebody post was, we might need a new sheriff instead of a new jail. Right now I'm thinking the same way. And if, you know, they cannot control the deaths inside, that's negligence. Some of the excuses that I hear for the new jail is because there's too many gangs inside. Well, that's an administrative problem that they could easily fix, and they don't. That we have way too many people inside. Well, guess what? You have a lot of undocumented aliens inside. Send them off to the feds. Get them deported. We don't need them, okay? And he talks about, and his spokespeople talk about how they want a lesser crime rate here. They want the safety of the community. Okay, he went against Trump's wall. Well, that's safety. If you have so many illegals inside your jail, where are they coming across? The river. Put that wall up there. People are voting against it. We need security. If we need a new jail, we need security on our wall as well. Plain and simple. But here's what it is the undocumented aliens there, being deported? No. We're holding them. For what reason? Or they let them go back into Laredo streets. That's absolutely wrong. Tell me, when there was an illegal there, what happened to him?
One of the things, immigration gets advice right off the bat.
Okay. What do they do?
They analyze if he's from abroad, but still, after he faces those state charges, then they take over. If it's something minute, like a misdemeanor, they take him into the custody and deport him. But if it's a felony, they have to face those charges. And after they're done with them, the state, then they'll release them to the feds. If that's the case.
I mean, if they've done a serious crime, we have to feed them?
If they're in custody, yes, Paul. Yes, we need to
Why
feed
don't
them.
we just deport them?
Depending on the crime. You know, the state has to finish with them by law, you know, as to what the crime, and they're going to pay and sentence them to, so depending on the crime.
Well, that's our justice system.
Yes.
For those folks out there, go out there. Right now it's early vote. You guys can vote over in Providence. You can go vote at the courthouse. You can go vote. Those are the ones that come off the bat. Exercise your right to vote before we get pushed into something that we do not want. Okay? Now, if you vote for, perfect. If you vote against, excellent. But exercise your right to vote. Anything else?
Well, let your voice be heard. But more than anything, I urge those politicians that were involved in this Proposition A, especially the ones advocating for it, like Jesse Gonzalez was advocating for it, and you can tell right away he was, and he admitted that he is. How come you don't inform your constituents of how much they will pay for this jail? Like I told you, Paul, $11.4 million for land. How many acres are you planning to buy? And at what price? Yes, under the circumstances, we do need the jail, as those people from Hurricane Allen needed that water. Hurricane Harvey, I'm sorry. They need that water. We cannot take advantage of our people. Inform them, go out and vote, and make a difference.
All righty, till next time. We got early vote to this Friday. Vote for or against Proposition A. My opinion, my vote was no. So
my vote was no.
So you guys take care. Until next time. See you.